Meeting to order for Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Richards.
Here.
Alderperson Denham.
Here.
Commissioner Green.
Here.
Commissioner Hillis.
Here.
Chairperson Groman.
Here?
Vice Chairperson Dieger.
Here.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Here.
Commissioner Motnowski. Commissioner Gore.
Here.
Commissioner O'Day.
Here.
We have 9 members present, 1 absent. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. This is the time for a meeting where anyone from the public can speak in regards to items not included on tonight's agenda. Everybody wishing to speak will have the opportunity to be heard. You'll be limited to 5 minutes during the public comment portion. We ask that you be mindful of everyone's time and refrain from making comments that are repetitive. Please sign in using the form located at the podium. Just put your name. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? That being the case, we'll move into our regular agenda. The first item on the regular agenda is approval of the Planning Commission minutes for the July 6th, 2023 regular meeting. Has the commission had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? Anybody? Then I'll now entertain a motion to approve the July 6th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll now call for a vote.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Alderperson Denham.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis.
Yes.
Chairperson Groman.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Dieger.
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Yes.
Commissioner Gore.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
We have 9 yeas. It's passed. Motion carried.
First item on the regular agenda is a request to amend the rules and procedures of conduct for the Planning and Zoning Commission. At this time, I would ask for a motion to table this item until our September 5th meeting, because the city is currently in the process of revamping their public speaking provisions, and I'd like to see ours be the same as theirs so that it's consistent for citizens from one meeting to another. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Motion. Second.
We have a first and a second. Any comment on it? Anybody want to comment on it? Here's one. Pardon? Yeah, Chuck.
I'm not going to be available for the September 5th meeting, so I wanted to just, based on what I read and what I saw there, I want to make sure that public comment stays in our bylaws, allows them to have that opportunity, whether it's, we'd like, of course, to keep it in regards to anything we can do and anything that is associated with us, unlike, for example, last meeting, we had a flag situation that we have no control over and no power, so we definitely want to do that. But I just want to make it known that I want to make sure that it stays in our bylaws to where we allow the public to speak on something outside of what the agenda is, because it could potentially be something related to a previous item or something that may be coming up or something like that. So I just wanted to make that statement, just since I'm not going to be here on September 5th.
Great, good point, and that's exactly why we're doing this. Any other comments? We have a vote?
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Alderperson Denham.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis.
Yes.
Chairperson Groman.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Dieger.
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Yes.
Commissioner Gore.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
We have 9 votes yea, motion carried.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing, is a request to amend PD 2005-007, known as Branson Hills Plan Development, for the property located at 279 Buchanan Road, Branson, Missouri. Can I get a motion to bring this to the floor?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
We'll now open the public hearing for this item. Would staff like to provide information on this item?
Just for a clarification, when you read that, you transposed the numbers. I believe you mean 297 Buchanan Road?
That's exactly what I meant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Chairman. I'm Planning Development Director Colusi, and I would like to speak on behalf of the staff on this item.
Give you a little bit of background on it. This item actually is presented on behalf of Todd Chandler of Great River Engineering. And that the property owner is Plaster Grandchildren Investments LLC. And I believe, as I understand it, Mr. Lundstrom is with us today on behalf of the applicant. So we will have an opportunity to potentially hear from him after this. But this property is located at 297 Buchanan Road, Branson, Missouri. And as mentioned already, this is a planned development, and this is actually seeking to amend the said plan development, which is the Branson Hills Plan Development, to allow for a new land use within this particular plan development. To get to very specifics, there is a out parcel located on the plan development, which I'll show you on an exhibit in a moment, known as Parcel 7. This is seeking to create Parcel 8, which would allow for business, which would account for the allowance of a commercial, non-hazardous commercial land use, self-storage for personal property, as well as light commercial business. As you can see on the exhibit, on the right-hand side, you can see the existing city zoning map. The entirety of this particular parcel within the plan development is located within this particular plan development, as well as the entirety of the parcel just to the west. And as you will see also in the exhibit, the properties to the north, the east, and the south are all unincorporated properties within the county outside of the city limits. So the Branson Hills development, you will actually see on the exhibit here on the right-hand side. The Branson Hills development is very, very sizable, as you would all already be aware. If you can see the red arrow that points to the dark or medium blue area on the top right-hand side of the map, which would be Plan North, you will see where this particular property is located. Section 1.04 indicates how we would actually move forward with the alteration of plan development, which would be minor modifications to the master plan. Obviously, this is before your Planning and Zoning Commission today. This will also have to go before the Board of Aldermen of the city and have to be amended to amend the master plan that will change the additions or land uses within the section, as well as on any particular parcel, as well as a change in use affecting more than 15% of increase of the total number of lots, which in this case would be item number 1. As I had mentioned before, you actually will see there are, this is currently labeled as parcel number 7. The balance of this plan development has also other parcels that are located, considered parcel 7, which are also in the blue area. If you can see to this southwestern portion of this particular plan development, you can see a lot more of the blue area, which would be on the other side of the Branson Hills Parkway. But this property, as I had mentioned earlier, is on the northern side of this particular property, and right off of Buchanan Road. Right now, and one thing I do want to highlight is it does list parcel 7 as an out parcel that is, quote, to be determined. So the neighborhood notice postcard had gone out. This is a postcard that is required to go to all citizens within 185 feet of the affected property, which we did make announcement of this public hearing today, which also, should you take action on this, this will also go to the Board of Aldermen next. This particular property is located on the aerial map. It is just to the west of 65, and you can see a zoomed in area. You can actually see the county, used to be called, I guess, the dump or the recycling facility just to the northern portion of this particular property. And it's really easy to see on this aerial photography that this property is currently vacant. You do have a little bit of a driveway accessing it, but no existing commercial development on it right now.
Wait a minute, back up a minute. I
Sure.
want to ask a question.
Sure.
So our red line,
Please speak into the speaker, the microphone.
excuse me, the red line is intercepting the Taney County trash.
So this was just a zoom in. So actually the parcel, this is actually a good depiction of what the parcel size is. So the red rectangle is not the parcel. It just shows the zoomed in area that the parcel
Okay.
is within. It's actually probably easier to tell where the tree cut line is. That's probably the easiest way to determine where the property line is. And I'll show you an exhibit in a moment that makes that a little more clear. Actually, this is probably the best exhibit to show you. You can see where the tree line is. This is actually the edge of where the parcel is. The blue line in this particular exhibit shows the property line. So as I showed in the previous exhibit, the red line, we are not looking at anything within the county limits. But we're seeing it for both from the north and the south. And then actually you can see from the western side, you can see the facility that's located right across the street in this example. As I had mentioned, we had done some staff analysis of this particular property. There's a variety of things we look at when we consider this and consider for any potential kind of a recommendation. In this circumstance, we obviously looked at utilities that are within the area as well as the land uses. As I had mentioned already, it's vacant. There's no existing structures on the facility or existing utilities. As shown on the land use map, it is shown as vacant. And the current zoning is planned development. And the proposed zoning, and I want to dwell here for just a moment, is going to be still proposed as planned development, even though we are looking at amending it for commercial. And I'll explain that in a little more depth. So again, because this is within planned development, it does allow for certain kinds of land uses within that, but it will still be zoned as the planned development, even though those commercial uses will be a called out land use allowable within that particular parcel of the planned development. So then what the revised land use map would show is, again, this arrow is on the exhibit to the left is pointing at the proposed parcel area, now in a much darker blue color, and it is adding, as you see in the red area on the right-hand side, it points to the addition of parcel 8, which would be known as business. And then obviously the balance of parcel 7 will still remain as the out parcels that are undetermined at this time. And then, actually, I forgot to mention this. So also on this exhibit, you can see the actual language within the proposed red line version of the proposed addition to the plan development, where it outlines the actual addition of parcel 8. As parcel 7 is already listed, it ends there. We'll be adding parcel 8 as business warehouse, with the 3 land uses being allowable. Number 1 being commercial or non-hazardous, 2 being self-storage for personal property, and 3 being a light commercial business. We also looked, when we were doing this analysis, at the community plan, the future land use plan. Ironically, this actually was not zoned on that particular map, so there's not really any particular direction given for this area of the city. And with all things considered, one thing I did not point out, which was, if I can just go back to the aerial, one thing that we did see is if you're looking at it from the highway side, there's actually a fairly significant elevation drop on this property. So if you're on 65, where the propane facility is on the bluff, it actually fairly well visually masks this property. So anything that would be built on this property, you're not going to actually see it from 65. So that's one thing, addition thing that I would like to add to the discussion. But with all things considered, staff is recommending the approval of this request. That is all I have for you, unless you'd have any clarification questions.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mark, I guess I'm a little bit confused. Was this parcel included in the original plan development, but the uses were not
Correct.
stipulated?
Yeah.
Because it almost because the normal procedure for the plan development is to remain zoned plan development, and it appears that we're giving it a different zoning district. The normal procedure would just be the picture of the map of the plan development, and then with the uses of parcel 8 would state what uses are allowed in that district. So this is actually zoning it out of the plan development.
No, I apologize, and if I led you to believe that, I want to correct that. That is
Okay,
not correct.
'cause
You
I
are
was getting a
exactly
little
correct.
cute,
It will definitely remain
confused.
as a plan development. You were certainly correct, but within that, it's still going to remain in the plan development. It was just outlined within the plan development. So parcel 8 is the language within the plan development. It's not to actually change the map itself, so it will still remain.
Thank you. I just got a little confused when I saw the dark color up there. I'm like, isn't it supposed to remain?
No, so this will actually be the revised exhibit within the new plan development language. So, But it would still, if you look at the master zoning map, it will still be located at turquoise blue color as the planned development.
The continuation of the existing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Does the applicant want to speak in this, Mark? You don't have to, but I mean, if you want to.
I'm David Lundstrom with Great River Engineering, representing the developer here. And I don't really have anything more to add that wasn't already said, but am certainly available to answer any questions that any of you may have.
Anybody have any questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir. Now's the opportunity for public comment on this amendment. Do we have any comments from the public? Anybody want to comment on it? Anyone else want to speak on the item? Hearing none, I will close the discussion and entertain a motion to approve the resolution amending PD 2005-007, known as the Branson Hills Plan Development for the property located at 279 Buchanan Road, Branson, Missouri. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
297.
Second?
297.
297. It's wrong on here.
Okay. I tried. Okay, we got it? Okay, we have a first and a second. Now call for a vote.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Alderperson Denham,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis,
Yes.
Chairperson Groman,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson DeYager,
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Gore, Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
We have 9 votes yea, 0 nay, motion carried.
Thank you. This concludes the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. We'll now go to reports. Staff, do you have any reports for the commission?
Yes, Chairman, I do. Thank you. So, in the past, anytime we would have a public hearing, as we just did this evening, anytime we would present this item to the public to make alert to the public that this hearing is being had, we have to make some kind of a description as to where this particular location is. And obviously, in any given scenario, that description would change. Past precedent has been to use a legal description for the particular location of the property. And as you can understand, in some scenarios, those legal descriptions can be very long. And in particular, when you have very long legal descriptions, it's very difficult for the lay person and the public to understand the location of that particular property that will be observed at the hearing. So staff is actually moving towards liking to make the announcement that we are moving or shifting to no longer using a legal description, but more concisely using a parcel ID, address, and/or intersection of the location of the property that is being said for the item to be heard. An exhibit, if you can see on the right-hand side on the screen, you'll see actually just one of the legal descriptions that we typically would have to run in the newspaper, which, as I mentioned, only a few select people within the public would even understand what that description is telling them. So we just felt it would be easier for the public and make it easier for them to understand what property they're talking about, so that it makes it easier for them to attend any one of the meetings. And obviously then it obviously shortens the legal description within the newspaper from time to time. So I just wanted to make that announcement that that is something we were doing just to make it easier for the public. So in case you would see that change, so hopefully that would be well received by the public and easier for them to
The
understand.
attorneys are happy with it? There's no legal problems doing it that way?
No, actually,
Great.
there's nothing within our regulations or anything like that that specifically requires a legal description, and obviously, before we do anything like this, we run it by legal, so no, we do not see that.
Can I ask a question?
And
Go ahead.
Okay, give me an example of what an intersection would, just tell me what an intersection was, so how I would understand that.
Sure, so I'll actually use the previous example as my example. And I don't know if it will zoom in enough, but as you can see on this particular description, here's Buchanan Road. So as you can see, this would be just to the west of the southwest, is it Outer Road? Is anybody familiar with that particular road? So hypothetically, if we were going to run this in the newspaper, you could say a property located at the corner of Buchanan Road and Southwest Outer Road, as an example, the closest intersection to that particular property. It obviously makes a lot more sense whenever you have more surrounding roads, but in this particular circumstance, you look at the closest intersection to the property. And obviously then too, it wouldn't necessarily have to just be that. If that doesn't make sense, we could also use the parcel ID and or the address of the property as well.
Anybody else?
Just as a point of clarification, you could also say the southwest corner of the intersection of Buchanan and Southwest Outer Road, so that they know which quadrant of those it resolves. In most cases, because of 911, when that was instituted, almost every property has an address that can be utilized, and so the old version of the legal description is commonly confusing and doesn't truly give you an idea of where the property is located versus a description like that.
So that is all I have on staff report.
Any commissioners have any reports? Well, the next item in that case would be adjournment. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn the August 1st, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Take a vote.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Alderperson Denham,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Hillis,
Yes.
Chairperson Groman,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson DeYager,
Yes.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Gore, Commissioner O'Day.
Yes.
We have 9 yeas, no nays. Motion carried. The meeting has been adjourned at 6:21.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, folks.